Hello and welcome to the University of Arkansas School of Art. My name is Donna Jones. I'm our Director of Recruitment and Outreach here at the School of Art, and we're so glad that you could join us today. And so I would love to tell you a little bit more about the School of Art, our different programs, specifically for prospective undergraduate students. And so let's just dive in. So again, I'm Donna Jones. So glad that you could be with us here today. And so we're going to go through a few exciting updates and different opportunities for students as we go into the next year. So the School of Art, we are a School of Art on a large research campus, and we're still part of the College of Arts and Sciences here on the University of Arkansas campus as well. So what does that mean, right? So we are our own program. However, we really encourage students to think about the liberal arts curriculum. So when you're in the School of Art, not only are you going to take your studio art classes, art education, art history, and graphic design courses, but you're also exposed to different courses in philosophy, math, science, English, history. So you're not just going to be in one silo while you're in the School of Art. And why that's important is that we as artists respond to the world around us. So we need to be super cognizant of things that are happening, and then also different areas of expertise and archival information to think about our own research and what we put out into the world. So when you're building your portfolio through those different classes, you're not just making, one sort of document for yourself. You're really also thinking about the connections between those different disciplines in your own area of making work as well. And so that's going to help you find solutions, not only to the creative work, but also for those communities that you're in conversation with, thinking about design, iteration, and trial and error. So you're going to expand your current skill set, but also gain a lot of new ones. And we also encourage students to think about their whole academic program. So if you are in the School of Art, but you also have an interest in marketing or a different world language or maybe history, really go after that. Luckily, at the College of Arts and Sciences and at the University of Arkansas, there's a lot of different things that you can be involved in, not to mention the honors college opportunities and being a really interdisciplinary student. And last but not least, something we'll cover here in a little bit are our different study abroad and summer opportunities. That really opens up a lot of doors for our students. So maybe you're in the classroom learning, but then you get to travel to Colorado, New York, Ghana, Japan one summer. So we're hoping that students take full advantage of those opportunities as well. So just a quick sort of 5-point plan, if you will, looking towards the future for the School of Art. Several years ago, we had about 36 faculty. As of this fall 2020, we now have over 60. Those faculty also serve over 475 students in the School of Art. So you're thinking about, not only undergraduates, but also graduate students too. That ratio is quite small, 8-to-1, which means that on a campus of over 27,000, you will probably not have more than about 15 students in your class from the time you start in foundations through the time you graduate. Now, the only caveat to that are, of course, our art history courses, because they're lecture style courses in those beginning years. So you might have around 40 students in those. But what that means is you really get that tight-knit group. You get to interact with your peers and learn from their perspectives way before you go out into the 27,000 population. So we're really excited. The Wingate Arts and Design District is on target. We're supposed to start that and ground break this fall. So we're very excited about that. What that means is there will be more space for classrooms, for individual studios, and just a better community presence for the School of Art. We already have so many students, faculty, and staff that are deeply involved in different places, not only here in Northwest Arkansas, but in the wider arts community at large. But this is going to be a really great representation for the forward thinking and the future for the School of Art students. Our Fine Arts Center, it was built in the 1950s by Edward Durrell Stone. It's a gorgeous space. However, after being built in 1950, it needs a little bit of a refresh, right? So that renovation will start hopefully next summer, next fall, and then be completed the year afterwards. And so that's going to really expand the space for art history and art education programs, as they both are going to be gaining graduate programs as well, but also expanding our fine arts library, and spaces like that too. Our library is a fantastic resource for students, especially if you're thinking about further research into papers, into presentations, also in your own research, if you're an honors college student especially. And our librarians there are second to none. They're so open, willing to meet with students. It's a fantastic place to go and study and read as well. And then last but not least, we're artists, so all of us have something to show or curate or exhibit. So we have exhibition space not only in the Fine Arts Center on the main campus, but also in the sculpture building, ceramics studio, and our Sugar downtown gallery as well. So where are we, right? So as you can imagine, our population has grown quite a bit over the last few years. So we've had to really think about space smartly before the new Wingate Arts and Design District starts. So where we are currently on the main U of A campus is highlighted here, where the Fine Arts pinpoint is. We're right next to the Arkansas Union, the Mullins Library, right across from some of the best coffee spots on campus too, Hill Coffee, and then also Arcega's in the Law Library. Not to discount Starbucks, of course, which is right behind us. But we're also right next to the Union Station, which is where the Razorback transit system aligns for all the different routes. So whether you need to go north, south, east, west, get down to the Wingate Arts and Design District, over to ceramics and printmaking, or down to the downtown square, that can all pick you up right here. So it's super convenient. Also, we're just a few steps down from Old Main and a lot of the different academic buildings on campus. But as we're expanding, we need more space, right? Artists need space, they need natural light, and they just need the ability to get together with people and talk about work. So we are in the Fine Arts Center on the main campus here that we just saw. We also have different drawing classroom space just a little bit ahead of us in the Agri Center. Hillside Auditorium, if this were a normal year and we had in-person large lectures, this is where that would happen in the Hillside Auditorium. That's where we have our visiting artist lecture series every Thursday night, but right now we're having those on Zoom. Down on the downtown square where the Fayetteville Farmers Market is, where there's a lot of local gallery space and a lot of just activity in Fayetteville, is One East Center. That's where a lot of our graduate students have studio space, but we also have our Sugar Gallery, the Center for Photographers of Color, and our Arts Entrepreneurship classroom. So a lot of different activities happening there for students as well. Then our Foundation Studio, if you are an incoming student or a transfer student and you're taking either of our Foundation Studio Art classes, this is the building that you will go to. So it's a very easy bus ride to get down there. There's also, knock on wood, 2 free parking lots. So right now, right in front of SOAX, and then right by the sculpture facility. So you can park there for free right now. And we hope that continues to go to either of those spaces. And then also for sculpture, that is one of our newer buildings built just over 2 years ago. It hosts our 3D printing lab, laser etching and cutting facility, our sculpture gallery, our metal shop, our wood shop, and then our wax, plastic, and rubber casting studio as well. And then we have our printmaking studio here. So many things to say about printmaking, but they have an amazing amount of equipment. So whether you want to go into bookmaking, lithography, monoprint, and also thinking about digital printing with the Riso lab there as well. And then also ceramics. So for any of my ceramic artists out there, you of course have your clay and glaze mixing stations, a huge kiln room with different firing techniques. You can work on hand building, wheel throwing, and there's also a small gallery there as well. Okay, so these are just a few links that I would recommend that you check out. We just had a new news story by the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette talk about the new facility at the Wingate Arts and Design District. And also, if you would like videos, you should be able to find those on our site, art.uark.edu, but feel free to email me. It's donna.s@uark.edu, and I'd be happy to send you full-length videos of those other sites, like the printmaking studio, ceramics, and so on and so forth. But looking towards the future, right? So you saw how we had that circle of art, but now we're eventually going to come back together, which we're all very excited about. We are set to break ground on this place, in this space, this fall, 2020. And so these are the renderings of that space. It should be a 4-level building over 150,000 square feet on the site where the foundations building for our new students and also the sculpture building are currently housed. So if we're looking at this image, this road here is Martin Luther King Avenue, a major thoroughfare in Fayetteville. This side road is Hill Avenue, and at the bottom here is where the sculpture facility is. So if you think back on that map, you can kind of see where that is headed. So lots of natural light, very open, very student focused. So we want to make sure that students have space to show work, and then we also have the spaces that our faculty, staff, and students need to create that work. So just a few more spots here. We are all very excited about this, and it was made possible by an amazing gift from the Wingate Foundation. And I should say too, that a lot of these upcoming programs and different scholarship opportunities that I'll talk about is only possible through the Walton Family Foundation Fund. So we're incredibly blessed and gifted to be able to award students different awards and scholarships through those funds, and also now this brand new facility. And it's all through those generous gifts of those two foundations. So yeah, so this is an interior shot. I always think this guy looks super cool. But you can see it's really open, inviting, and people from the community will be eligible to come into that space too. You know, it's not closed off. We're very much a community-centered support. And so we want people to come in from the different places around Northwest Arkansas and see what the students are making. We want them to make those connections, both for their own careers and development, but also just to talk and see what's going on in the School of Art. Okay, so for scholarships, so you can find more information about this on our scholarships page on art.uark.edu. Traditionally, we were able to give out about $12,000 a year before the amazing Walton Family Foundation gift. Now, starting this next year for fall 2021 to 2022, we'll be giving out $500,000 every year to undergraduate art majors. So we are very excited about that. A change this year is that over 50% of that funding will go to students from diverse backgrounds. Now, what that means is on our scholarship application, which is now open and due on February 15th for anybody applying for the fall 2021 year, you'll submit a diversity statement. We want to hear from you. What things are you involved in that think about justice, equity, access, inclusion? That's what we want to hear from for you. Are you a person that has volunteered with a group? Have you experienced issues of those four things in your own life? Do you make work, addressing social justice and change and activism? We really want to hear about how diversity impacts you as a person and as an artist. So that's what you're going to be writing about in that statement. We also have an artist statement that you'll submit just to talk about your own work. What drives your passion for making things? And we'll also have some portfolio guidelines and also some tips. If you're a visual artist submitting a portfolio, that'll be about 1 to 10 images. You can submit images from a sketchbook. Also, we know that right now you may not have access to all the materials that you need to fully see the vision that you had for a piece. So sketchbook images are acceptable. We'll also just be looking at the range. Are you a student that has tried out some things in the past, but you have sort of more of a passion for a certain area? Let us know that and write about that in your work too. And I'd really encourage you to talk to people about your work as well. See what your art educators say, about some of your pieces too. And if you do need to reach out to ask any questions, please feel free to do that as well. So that deadline is February 15th. We would also really recommend that students that are eligible to apply for the FAFSA, which is the federal aid loan program, to please do that. You do not have to accept loans, but that does help us get a better picture of your financial need. And so when we as a School of Art are awarding scholarships for the year, that gives us a little bit more insight if you would like us to have that be a part of your evaluation of what we would be able to award you. So I would also really suggest that you apply for the University of Arkansas General Scholarship application. Now, to do that by the priority deadline, you do need to apply to the U of A no later than November 15th of this year. And then the scholarship deadline will be December 1st. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out, but definitely try to do that by that December 1st date. a lot of the scholarship funding for general U of A scholarships is awarded by that date for students that have applied by that date. And another great option for students, if you are thinking about studying abroad or going on an internship, participating in a workshop or residency, we also have about $80,000 every summer for undergraduate students to use for those study abroad programs, whether that's a plane ticket or tuition and fees. Maybe you've got this great internship, but it's unpaid. And so maybe you need help with meals or travel getting to that. We've had students participate in things in DC, in LA, also studying abroad in Ghana, Japan, Finland, also going to residencies in North Carolina, in New York, also Colorado. So really the sky's the limit for your opportunities. It's just thinking about those in advance and how you can better fund those, just like you would your normal education, you know, throughout the year. And then lastly, I would really suggest checking out the scholarships.uark.edu page and also the financial aid page for more about general U of A scholarships. You can always find our scholarships. Go to art.uark.edu and then over to the admissions tab, and the first link underneath that will say financial aid and scholarships. So great. And so this is just a little bit more about that scholarships process from Lee Sutherland, our scholarships and awards coordinator.
Hi, welcome to the School of Art. I'm Lee Sutherland. I am the Scholarship and Awards Coordinator here. Thanks for letting me take a couple of minutes of your time so I can talk to you about some scholarship opportunities. So I'll first start off by talking to you about the scholarships from the School of Art. And I am going to share my screen with you so you can kind of see where to go for these scholarships. So this is our School of Art website. And on our website, there's a link right here for admissions and then for financial aid and scholarships. And when you click into it, it's going to give you a little bit more detailed information about our scholarships. And this year, this next academic year, we're going to award over $500,000 to undergraduate students. And over 50% of that will go towards our diversity scholarship. And students who come from a diverse background, who belong to a diverse group, or students who participate and engage in diversity and inclusion efforts are eligible for this scholarship. Students can be awarded $3,000 per academic year for up to 4 years, and that's a total of $12,000 for your whole academic year. Now, we also have a merit-based scholarship, and this is anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 per year. It's not renewable, but you can reapply for it each and every year. So the great thing about all of this is that students can be considered for both the diversity and the merit-based scholarship, and they can be awarded from both areas for a maximum of $5,000 per academic year. Now, students will apply through our slide room account here, this link, and there's only one application for incoming and transfer students for these two different types of scholarships. The application will consist of some pretty basic demographic information, and then it will require you to upload a diversity statement and an artist statement. Depending on your major or your minor, you'll also have additional writing samples that might be required to be submitted. Students will also submit anywhere from 1 to 10 images of your best artwork that you've done in the last year. This application is open right now, and it closes in on February 15th. On our website, we also have some links to additional scholarships. One is the Historic Cane Hill Scholarship here. This one actually has a deadline of November 2nd, so that's right around the corner. This is for Arkansas high school students grades 10 through 12. And what you will do is upload your best artwork, an image of your best artwork. And the award can be tuition and fees for the next academic year. We also have a link to the Arkansas Young Artists Association and the Thea Foundation, both of which have their own separate scholarship application that you will have to fill out. And those are due in February and in March. So their scholarship ranges from anywhere from $500 to $4,000. So I also want to take a minute then to show you scholarships beyond our webpage here. And that would include some from the University Scholarship website. We have ones for freshmen here, and these are the different types of scholarships that we have. And basically, for freshmen, what you need to do is apply for admissions and submit your high school transcripts and your test scores by November 15th. And then you will have an online scholarship application that will require you to do some supplemental materials, which is essays, basically by December 1st. Then, if you are a transfer student, you will also have some scholarships available for you. And students will have to apply for admissions on this and submit your official college transcripts by March 15th if you're looking for a fall enrollment date. And then by October 1st if you're looking for a spring enrollment date. Now, they will also be required to do an online application, which is due April 1st for fall enrollment and October 15th for spring enrollment. This website also has links to the Arkansas state programs. So a lot of times students might hear about scholarships from the Arkansas Challenge or Lottery Scholarship or the Arkansas Governor's Distinguished Scholarship. Both of these scholarships can be found on the Arkansas Department of Higher Education website under scholarships and programs. And you can apply for it using this universal scholarship application here. There are also external scholarships. We have a couple of reputable websites here that are listed that you can go through and pick out some scholarships based upon your major or your interests. So they have different scholarship amount ranges and different deadlines as well. So what I want you to take away from this is if you have any questions regarding any type of scholarship opportunity, is for that you need to feel free to contact me. And I will post up my contact information up here real quick so that you can see it and write it down. Please feel free to call me, email me. You can set up a time to talk on the phone or talk through Zoom, whatever works best for you. I appreciate your time and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.
Awesome. And so for Lee's contact information, you can always find that on our website on art.uark.edu. Her email address is lcsuther@uark.edu. And again, you can always find us on the website as well. So we've learned a bit about scholarships and our facilities and our growth, but what does your first year look like, right? So if you are a student that is interested in studio art, which would be photography, drawing, painting, etc., or graphic design or art education, then you'll start at the School of Art your freshman or your first year here in 2 courses called Foundation Studio Art 1 and Foundation Studio Art 2. Both are 9 credit hour classes. So if you think about the context of that within your 12 to 15 or 16 hour total each semester, it's a pretty large chunk of time. And what you do in those courses is learn everything from observation and visualization through form and surface, form and space. So thinking about all sorts of different ways of creating and making, and then also thinking about collaboration, creative thinking. How can you be a critical thinker in what you're making? What are the different materials that you need to use? And then also, what are the outside research areas that you're bringing into the classroom as well in your own perspective? At the same time, you're learning from those other 14 students in your class and your faculty members. You also get to know 4 faculty members in each foundation section. So 4 in your first semester, 4 in your second semester. So you really get to learn a lot about different faculty from different areas, and they also get to know you. So when the time comes after your first year here to apply to any of our Bachelor of Fine Arts programs in studio art, graphic design, or art education, then you'll know typically somebody from those programs or have been exposed to everything in those majors as well. For art history majors, the way that your program is a little bit different is that you'll start in our survey courses. So that could be survey 1 or 2. It really takes art history from a world viewpoint. So thinking about art history from the beginning of time through Italian Renaissance till contemporary. So you're sort of looking at the whole, as we know it, right, for art history through those 2 courses. And then you start to go into deeper, more research classes and topics. So things like Afrofuturism, feminist art, medieval art, Baroque art, even taking some intercession classes. This past January, we actually had a class that worked with a faculty member on crystals in art history, and they actually went to visit a crystal mine here in Arkansas, and that also coincided with the opening of the Crystals exhibition at Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. So there's a lot of outside classroom opportunities as well for students, whether you're in art history, art education, graphic design, or studio art. And then if you are a student that is working, if you're in ROTC, if you're a student athlete, if you perform in the marching band, or you're in choir, or have any other obligation or part of your schedule that makes the foundation class maybe a little difficult, we also have mornings only sessions and afternoon only sessions too. And you all talk about that in the summer orientation before you'd start that fall. So here are just some images from some of our areas of study. So here are a few images from foundations, getting together with your classmates there and making. For drawing, so we offer, everything from charcoal through digital, through life drawing and figure drawing. In art history, so like I said earlier, you might be in a class with 30 to 40 students in a lecture style class. And then you also go outside the classroom. You look at different exhibitions, you learn about the museum history, thinking about curating and putting together your own research and papers and presentations as well. And then printmaking, of course. And you'll notice at the top, each area has their own Instagram account. So the main one is Ozark Art, but you can also go to any of these specific areas and see the work that our students are making right now. And DAPA is actually the Drawing and Painting Association for students. And a lot of our different areas have, the printmaking club, the photography club, things like that too. And so of course we have photography here. And the image on the right is actually Hillside Auditorium. That's where we typically have our in-person lectures on Thursday nights. Of course, we're doing those through Zoom right now, but this person took it upon themselves before the shutdown to multiply themselves in every seat. So it was pretty awesome. And then art education, of course. Art education actually has 2 tracks that students can focus in. One is K through 12 licensure. So if you're an artist considering teaching at the elementary, middle, or secondary program in the state or in adjoining states, then you would go through that track. If you're a student that is thinking more about maybe, working through a museum, working for a nonprofit, thinking about good community art, you would focus in the community art practice area. And then graphic design. On the left, that's one of our students that graduated a few years ago, and she actually created that project as her honors thesis. So that is actually sod that she put around different buildings in Fayetteville. And then sculpture, of course. In the sculpture facility, we have a 3D printing lab, also a foundry, and then a metal shop and wood shop. So in the center there, you're looking at some foundry work, even though this is a slightly different setup than our current one. And then ceramics, we offer wheel throwing, hand building, all sorts of great things. And, with every different area, say printmaking, you may start off with things like lithography or monoprint, but you also have the ability to go into a digital printing lab or collaborate with the U of A Museum and look at different archives, so every area has this fantastic range of opportunities for students. Experimental media arts is one of those as well. So while this is not a specific area yet, this is a developing program. And so if you're a student interested in video and sound and things that have to do with space, this would be a great place for you to start thinking about taking courses in. And they're open to any of our students that have finished foundations. So you could take, moving image, you could take the creation of sound, investigations in those different areas as well. And then arts entrepreneurship is part of that as well. Both EMA and arts entrepreneurship are combined with sculpture to make our SculptureX program, which is expanded, right? So you know, when we're thinking about art, you're often not going to be in one silo of making. You're really thinking about different mediums and different forms. So arts entrepreneurship is no stranger to that, of course. So you can see some of the different possibilities there, whether it's getting together with your classmates and thinking about projects, or talking with local artists in the community about how they make work, or different organizers as well. And then our wonderful fine arts library. It's a very mid-century modern space. There's tons of natural light. You can see in this image in the middle, there's a lot of space for students to do research and read. There's a big purple chair in the basement area there too, which is highly coveted and sought after for just a nice casual day of reading and catching up on work too. And then our visiting artist, designer, and scholar series. This is where we invite people from outside the School of Art to come and talk to our students about their practice. It could be a graphic designer one week, and then a sculptor, then a performance artist the next. So you'll see some of the various artist lectures, and then also some of the shows that have come about from those lectures in the Fine Arts Gallery here. And then for students thinking about where art can take them, this on the right is by no means an exhaustive list, but it is a list that you'll find on the Career Center site here at the University of Arkansas under the "What can I do with a major in?" And I think it's really important to think about art not so much as encased in the studio, though that is a huge part of it, but really, or in the library, really thinking about how you can expand your art practice out into a lot of different things. You know, we don't exist in a vacuum. Artists respond to the things that are going on around them. Art historians take account of that system, both economically and socially and politically. And then art educators think about the different students that are learning in our communities, and what, you know, groups of people that have normally been disenfranchised or underrepresented, how do we bring art and how do they express things through art? And lastly, graphic designers. They think about the user experience. They think about how do we get this message out? And then of course our studio artists are creating works, collaborating with others, thinking about, you know, how do you show this work to a group? Where is it going to be shown? Things like that too. So a lot of that does not just exist in one way. That could come out being, you know, a different kind of artist. It could be working as an advisor. It could be working as an educator. It could be working in a nonprofit or any sort of different field. So we really just show this to let students know that there's a huge range of things. And the way that you start to learn about these is by doing your own research and also asking. That would be my biggest piece of advice is, if you're concerned about something or feel like you don't have the knowledge base, ask. And I think our faculty and staff are second to none in terms of being that resource for students, for sure. We also offer students the opportunity to go to different conferences and network with artists all over the region and the United States. They also study abroad, of course, but then we also have a great career center on campus that can align students' interests and help them get their materials and their interview skills ready to go out there when they are on the job search or the graduate school search as well. And then these are just some of our summer opportunities, whether it's a workshop or residency or a study abroad program, or even a self-initiated plan. If you find a great internship or a project proposal that you'd like to submit, those can all be considered as part of that $80,000 that we award in the summer. But I did want to show you a few students that have taken full advantage of that. So let me go back here. And the first I'll play is by one of our fantastic graduate students, Eric Andre, as he went to Aramont to study clay making here.
The University of Arkansas School of Art provided me a grant to attend a workshop at Aramont. My name is Eric Andre, and I'm in Aramont School of Art, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I'm from Ghana. I'm a Ghanaian by birth.
Aramont is it's all about learning and sharing, and it's a community, a creative community. We offer 150 workshops in different media. We have national conferences. We have retreats. Every week it changes, which is so interesting.
If you want to go to the art world, how to make connections. So I think it's a great way to make connections because you get to meet a lot of people, great artists, great professors from different places.
Eric's really inquisitive, and that's an incredibly important thing in a situation like this, is to try and take in as much as you can. But I think he's really embracing that opportunity while he's here.
Getting education here is so amazing. It's been so inspiring. Everything I'm receiving, it's beyond what I thought I was going to get.
The summer internships are extremely important. And the big reason is that they get to go out and talk about what we do and how important and valuable their education is, as well as what they learn there and then they bring back to the classroom, constantly multiplying the ability and the diversity of what the students talk about or say or make because of their experience in the summer.
What I like about University of Arkansas School of Art is you're not trained as ceramist or sculptor or a painter, but you're trained as an artist. Education isn't about making only beautiful things, but it worth if you have very deep thought behind whatever you're doing.
Right. So I love what artists talk about, when they're creating their work. And I think Eric hit it on the head is, we're training artists and art historians, art educators, and designers. We're not just training one kind of student to do one kind of thing. We're really helping students find their own path and giving them the skills and the supports they need to go out into the world and do what they do best. So the second video I'm going to show is by one of our undergraduate students, Reagan Lorfing. She is in the graphic design program, and this is a program through Thrive in Helena, Arkansas.
What inspires me the most as a designer is the connection between people and design, because I'm seeing it firsthand how design is impacting and influencing the people here.
Thrive is based in Helena, and it is a design nonprofit. And I was really interested in the work that they were doing in the Delta, and I wanted to see how our students could both support them and learn from them. And the first opportunity was to develop a summer internship.
These are just a little bit more powerful in terms of having some of the local imagery. Reagan has been working on a poster series for a bank that wants to redefine themselves in the community.
This part right here is going to be a different color.
We have design programs that serve youth. They work with our designers on graphic design projects.
We're working on a mural, and this one girl, she's like, I love this because every time I drive by, I'm going to look at that and think, oh, I did that and I am making Helena more beautiful, which was just amazing to hear. And that's exactly what I think that Thrive wants here.
They are demonstrating to a lot of the youth in that area that a life in art and design is possible. It's financially stable and you can be very successful.
The University of Arkansas is the first one that has actively and proactively come to us, making that finish line of a career ready student.
What I've seen with these students is not only does it give their careers a really great boost, so it really helps round out your portfolio. Maybe more importantly, if we're looking at lifelong learners and designers, it really demonstrates the power of design to work with communities.
The School of Art has really prepared me for this through all the classes that I've taken, and just with the projects that we've done, I've used so much of what I've learned in my classes here. I want to use design to change things and help. So they've definitely pushed me and helped me grow as a designer and just as a person.
Great. And so, Helena is in the southeast area of Arkansas, but our students are doing internships all over the country. They're participating in different groups. So these two are not isolated incidents. They just happen to be the videos I'm sharing with you today. But we also have a really active art education program and different studio art programs and art history programs. One of my favorite opportunities that we had is for an art history student to go to the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts and participate in a summer-long internship paid there. So they not only get to work on the exhibitions and learn from the different curators and staff there, but they also bring that back here to the School of Art and the University of Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas too, and talk about their experiences. So for the Northwest Arkansas community, speaking of, we really have an amazing opportunity, for any sort of artist, any sort of patron of the arts, and then also for our students. here because we're sort of an unlikely pairing. We have amazing mountains, rivers, lakes, a really fantastic natural landscape, but then 30 minutes north of us, we also have 2 world-class arts areas, and that's just 2 of those. So here in the top right is the new Momentary. It just opened this February 2020. It's a crazy space because it used to be a craft cheese factory, and now it has been converted to be the sister institution of Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, seen down here at the bottom. In the Momentary space, there are contemporary art exhibitions. It hosted part of the State of the Art exhibition this past year. Right now, there's a fantastic Nick Cave show called Until that runs this fall. I highly recommend that y'all check that out. And then at Crystal Bridges, there's a lecture series. I mean, there's so many different arts education opportunities, internships at both institutions for our students, and job opportunities, and also just an insane connection to a world of art for our students that they can see how to get to, and they understand how those contemporary conversations in both of those institutions directly affects how they are able to make their work here, and also gives them the insight, the connections, and that network to curators, staff, educators at both institutions as well. And then, of course, on the local level here in Fayetteville, we have a lot of different gallery opportunities for students, but we also have fantastic local community organizations. So on the left, the No Justice, No Peace mural was created in 2 weeks, no big deal, by local artists through Art Ventures. We also had some participants from the School of Art create that mural. And so there was a great organization and event called In Living Color in Northwest Arkansas, started by 2 U of A student athletes, which is pretty phenomenal. But it's a really great reminder. It sits right on Dixon Street, which is a main thoroughfare here, that we all need to be thinking about our community members. And then also as artists, how do we respond, to these different events that are happening, and the justice that needs to occur for those as well. And then we also have the great institutions like 21C in Bentonville. We have the Phoenix Gallery, First Fridays in Bentonville, and then First Thursdays in Fayetteville. And then a ton of different opportunities in Springdale and Rogers as well, like the Arts Collective in Rogers, also the Art Center, the Ozarks in Springdale. So it's a really fantastic community built on support for artists. And that support has only continued to grow throughout the last few years. So just a few last minute things here too. We are going to hold what we're calling spotlight days for interested undergraduate prospective students. So whether you're an incoming student or a transfer student, we invite you to come and learn about each of these different programs. In October, they'll be on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 10:30. They'll be on Zoom, but we'll also record the session. So if you would like to receive a recording of those, just let me know, and you can email me. To sign up, we've got the different bit.ly sites there where you can fill out a form, and we'll just ask a few pieces of information from you so we can send you the link. And then you can also register for one-on-one appointments with me any Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon. We can also do a portfolio review if you'd like to do that, although that's not required. And then we'll also have different opportunities throughout the semester too for group sessions through the admissions office and things like that. But during those spotlight days, you'll get to hear from faculty in each of those different programs, also current students, and then also go through a bit of the information that we've talked about during this presentation. And so if you do have any other questions, my contact information is there on the left. Feel free to email me, and I'm happy to send you a recording of any sort of presentation that we'll have coming up. Also some different opportunities too, if you want to learn a little bit more about scholarships or a little bit more about, the painting or the printmaking program, please feel free to let me know. And then also don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Ozark Art. You'll see a lot of updated information in our stories and our main pictures and images there from different students, their current work, and how we're making work through this time too. Just because there's a pandemic doesn't mean that artists still aren't creating. So I've been really fascinated by our faculty and our students and staff and how they've been able to come together and really move that creative process forward. We hope that you've enjoyed this presentation. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you're doing okay and staying well through this time. We look forward to hopefully talking to you more about the awesome School of Art at the University of Arkansas.